All right. Hey, it's Quincy and Nate. We're here with Bible Quiz Game Day, wrapping up the Saturday tournament action. And Austin's not with us, but him and Nate are going to see if they can put something together for the end of the championship quiz to kind of wrap that up for us. So, Nate, what did we see from today? What are some highlights?
Well, we definitely saw some highlights with ministries that maybe we weren't expecting to see at the end of the day and at the top of the bracket. We saw some pretty amazing jumps in where teams started and where they finished. And one of those teams actually did extremely well. They started in 18th place and they ended up finishing in 6th place. And that team was Valiant from Youth Challenge in Colorado. So I don't know if I've seen that big of a jump before at the national tournament. They started in 18th, like I said, and they got a second in that first quiz. So they were still down in site 6 after 2 quizzes. And then they made a rise all the way up to site 1 for a couple of quizzes. So that was one team that really jumped up to the top of the bracket and was very close to making the championship.
That's exciting. Yeah, and I know we noted about not being real familiar with them, and Rick Cleaver always gets a lot of it out of his quizzers when he's coaching. So, yeah, that was fun to see.
Another team that was made quite the jump as well was Chosen. They started in 12th place going into Saturday, and that would have put them in site 4 to start. And they actually were in the final qualifier, the final window quiz for the championship, and ended up taking 3rd place in that quiz and finishing the tournament in 5th place. So again, that team is definitely went up in the standings, in the seedings, and they're Chosen is from TFC Northwest. So it was really cool to see that ministry perform well on Saturday.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, 2 ministries that are not often, they have been sometimes, but not every year are they in that championship qualifier, and they were in there, and that was real exciting to watch. Um, I'm always thrilled to see that. Jumping 6 spots, especially up in the top 15 of the bracket, is very difficult. I know I'll have to look at my records. I know somebody one year jumped 19 spots because I had that in my mind, but I have to I'll have to look back and see who that was. But I remember that happening. But it's rare, and that's exciting. I know I'll highlight Supernova from Bronze Wall went from 22nd to 16th, and I think like we were talking about before with TFC Northwest Youth Challenge, Family Life, and Bronze Wall, Teen World when they come. Sometimes it takes us a good couple days to really get our footing, and then we can make some jumps on Saturday when things go well. So that was good to see for those folks to kind of say, oh, okay, we can hang and we can have a good time. All right, well, let's turn our attention to our championship quiz where we have Revelation as the first qualifier, and then Riven, and then finally Ambition qualified. So I think that was what you picked, right? Or
Close. It was sort of the pick that I wanted to have happened, or kind of a hybrid of that. I actually picked Revelation, Moxie, and Ambition, but I wanted Revelation to make it as well. So I kind of played both sides there, but definitely had Ambition as a team to look for as far as getting to the championship.
Yeah, and all those teams that we had talked about were hanging around. Third day made the second qualifier but didn't make the championship, and they were all all those teams very depending on how the day goes and how different questions fall and whose light comes on when, you could have seen any one of those teams in the championship quiz, which is exciting. So any thoughts on the quiz for tonight? Any kind of insights you can offer?
Well, I'm actually really impressed with how Ambition did this whole tournament. They kept their cool throughout all the quizzes, through the round robin, through Saturday bracket quizzing, and ended up into the championship there on the last qualifier. And it's pretty interesting because the last time that a team associated with Iowa, like TFC, was 2006. I believe that was when Clay was still part of Iowa TFC. And if you wanted to go back even further to the last time a team from Iowa with the name of Ambition made the championship was 1999. So it's been over 20 years since that's happened. So it's just a really great thing to see another ministry into the championship here with Iowa TFC coming in there. And then just the fact that there's 3 different ministries involved in the championship. Everyone kind of felt like rhythm.
Real quick, I was just going to say, and really actually 4, right? Since we have a TFC Northwest quizzer on the Iowa team as well. So really 4 ministries are represented to some degree.
Yeah, that's very true. Everyone kind of made Riven the top team to get in pretty easily. They had to work for it a little bit today. They weren't able to get it done in the first qualifier, but then in the second qualifier, they were able to win that quiz and played a very patient quiz. That quiz, I know, first half of the quiz, they sat back and they didn't try to over jump like maybe they had done in previous quizzes. They took their time. They only got 1 error in the whole first half. They only had 20 points, but they knew that they could come back in the second half if they needed to. And that's what they did. They came back and they were able to win in the second half and go to the championship. So I really think that Riven does a good job of adjusting to the dynamic of the quiz as well as to the quiz master.
Yeah, I was going to say about Revelation. I know that Revelation was trying to get in that top window quiz, and they had 2 quizzes that came down to the buzzer where they didn't quite make it, and they could have made it into that top quiz. And the 3rd time they did it, right? And they made it into that window quiz, and then it seemed like they really kind of had it figured out at that point. So that's fun to see a team mature and like figure out the whole dynamics of it. I know Jason's done a great job coaching and Gabrielle helping him as well, keeping everybody on a steady pace. And then Ambition, like we've talked about, they've got a lot of great experience, a lot of names that you recognize, last names, first names that you recognize there. And they're the only team on Thursday or Friday that beat Riven. So they're not going to be afraid of Riven. They're not going to be afraid of Revelation. So I'm excited to see how it goes. And it's anybody's quiz, really. I mean, depth-wise, it's hard to go against Riven. But depending on the quiz master, depending on how the question selection goes, I really think any of the 3 could win it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how many quizzes it'll go tonight as far as the championship goes. It really boils down to, in my opinion, to the quiz masters that are going to be selected for each quiz. I know Summit tends to do well with their own quiz masters from Summit. Obviously, they aren't able to choose their own ministry for the championship, but we'll see how some of these other quiz masters that they dealt with during the bracket quizzing on Saturday, see how they are able to adjust to their jumping styles. I think Tim Stillwell will be one of the quiz masters involved in the championship, and then perhaps maybe a couple others that they came in contact with on Saturday.
Nice. All right, our prodigal has come in. Austin, we're just talking about how much of a basil butter this championship quiz looks like it's going to be. Oh, dang, he's frozen and he missed my joke.
No, I got it.
No.
Good one.
Just to explain to our listening audience, we have a group chat, and Austin accidentally typed nail biter as basil butter. So from now on, I'm calling all close quizzes basil butters. So Austin, I don't know if you have enough internet to offer us a brief insight as we close this video. What are you thinking for the championship quiz?
Well, I think that Riven had some difficult quizzes going down the stretch there where they really got into error trouble. And they seemed to learn from that in their final window, or in the window quiz in which they qualified. And they won 2 jumps the whole first half. One was an error, one was points. And then they were free the second half to just have their way with the entire quiz. And I think they ended the quiz with just 1 error and a whole ton of points. So I think that they're probably going to use that as a template since it worked for them, and the opposite did not. Revelation really showed that they can be competitive against Riven specifically because they were involved in both of Riven's third places. And I think Ambition also beat Riven twice. So they are the only teams to do that in this tournament, which makes this a really, really interesting championship to me. Revelation, I think, had some difficulties going down the stretch with some inexperience that they've had. And I've talked, you talk about quizzing IQ as situational quizzing and understanding what's going on in the quiz when you make decisions as a quizzer. Gabrielle and Jason have had to kind of micromanage that team a little bit. But I think they're catching on here. But if they go down, that might be one of the contributing factors, I think. And then Ambition is absolutely going to make this quiz interesting. They look every bit like the real deal. Just clawed their way up, had a really difficult last window quiz, and they were down by a lot of points, and they came back and just really took it to the competition. So it's going to be a great quiz.
That was great analysis. He pops in and he's ready to just give us that great take. That's why he's on the show, everybody. All right, guys. Well, we'll check in. Everybody be watching. Make sure you check out BibleQuizNationals.com and take a look for the quiz. If you're in the Eastern time zone like me, look at 8 o'clock. And then if you're in the Central, 7 o'clock. And I think you know how time zones work after that. But looking forward to watching it with you guys.